Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the classic traveler solo adventures of Anselm. I am Ed, your GM, player, and all-around host guy. Last time, as you recall, Anselm had found a new traveling companion on the pirate planet of Pireth. His new companion, Hormoz, was gifted with psychic abilities, and Hormoz was looking for someone or some place to train him in those abilities. Anselm also met with an information broker on Pireth, and this information broker, by amazing coincidence, had served time on Vilmork, the prison planet, with Anselm's father, Godfrey. Now, the broker had called Godfrey the Reverend, which surprised Anselm, but that's because Godfrey had become a devout follower of the Endorian religion, and the broker said that if Godfrey was no longer on Vilmork, he'd most definitely be heading to the planet of Endoria. And that is where we rejoin Anselm and Hormas. At last, Anselm has a little bit of a direction. He does feel pretty confident that his dad, Godfrey, is going to be heading to Endoria. However, as I said in the last episode, Endoria and the Imperial space don't get along really well. They do share a border, but because Endoria is all transhumanism, they're a big proponent of psychic abilities, they don't get along with the Imperial space. And Hormoz actually wanted to go with Anselm to Endoria because they will train. They encourage the use of psychic abilities. So Hormoz is hoping that's going to be beneficial for him. Anyway, so they are heading towards Endoria, and Anselm is a little concerned how they're going to get there. Like I say, there is a shared border, but it's not an easy crossing. Like some of the places now on Earth, you can go visit them, but it's not an easy way to get a visa unless you want to get in on the sly, and then that can go really bad for you too. So Anselm's going to have to figure out how does he want to get there. Right now, though, he's going to Hesia Prime, the place where we started this adventure back so many episodes ago, because there is a scout base, and he's thinking he maybe could get a little more information about traffic going between Imperial and Endorian space. So that is where he is headed. He also has some high passengers, so he's taking care of them, and he bought some grain. He bought 3 tons of grain. I, for some reason, just imagine him opening up the hatch and them dumping bucket loads of just loose grain. I know that's not what they do, but that's what I just think he opens up the cargo hatch and there's like this grain everywhere, just, handfuls of grain. It's probably in a big container. Anyway, so he's got that, going to do a little speculating. Also, I realized when I did the speculating, it makes sense to see if the place where you're going actually wants what you're bringing, and I don't know that Hesia Prime is really going to be the best place for him to sell his grain. But hey, we're all learning here. This is a learning opportunity. So that is where we are right now. First thing we need to do, though, is we need to update our lists, and we need to change our chaos factor and see if there are any threads we want to add, and I think there are. So lists for characters, we have the ones we've had before, and I don't think there are any more characters we want to put on there. For threads, I do think we want to add the thread of Hormoz getting trained in his psychic abilities. So that is going to be a new thread to train Hormoz. And last time, I kind of feel like everything kind of went Anselm and Hormoz's way, even though they did have a little bit of encounter with the ruffians. Anselm was able to talk them down. So I'm going to drop the chaos factor from 6 down to 5. So potentially a little less chaos. And there we are. And we rejoin Anselm and Hormoz and his passengers as they go zipping along through jump space, heading towards Hesia Prime. I actually did go through and I rolled up some individuals. I rolled up some information about some NPCs who might be traveling with Anselm and Hormoz. Instead of doing that live for you, or not live, but doing it in real time, I did some of these beforehand. So tell me if you like this. I went ahead and rolled these up, and I have their modifiers, their adjectives, and their wants, sort of what their motivation is. I used Une again from Conjecture Games. Tell me if you like this, or would you rather see me roll these up in real time and come up with the ideas as I roll them up, if you know what I'm trying to say. Let me know down in the comments which you prefer. But right now, we're going to go with this. I have rolled up about a dozen. We have 3 right now, and it is going to be, it looks like actually looks like it would be a D6. I actually have 12 of them. So I'm going to break it up 6 and 6. And I'm going to roll the red dice for the first 6 and the green dice for the second 6. So who do we have traveling with Anselm and Hormoz? So 6 and a 6. That was easy. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first one is, okay. They are a delightful reverend. Interesting. They are a delightful reverend, and their motivation is to attempt hate. Okay? A delightful reverend, but they're trying to attempt hate. So, gives me a couple ideas. The other person would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the other passenger is a lethargic professor, and they are going to accompany Wrath. Accompany Wrath. Okay. And let me roll this purple dice. This will be our last. This will be our last person because we do have 3 high passengers. So what? Oops. Let's roll it actually in the dice tray. What say? There we go. Another 6. Okay. That is going to be... Oh my, who is that? Who is that? That is a conservative merchant. Yes, and their job is to institute sensuality. What a diverse group of passengers we do have. All right, so we have the delightful reverend, we have the lethargic professor, and we have the conservative merchant who have booked passage upon Anselm's ISS Raven as they're heading to Hesia Prime. All right, as they're going along now, Hormoz is a very young individual. I feel like he doesn't have a lot of skills. I didn't do a life path character creation for him. I think that Anselm would try to get him to help out a little bit because these are high passengers. They have a certain level of, they're expecting a certain level of care while they're traveling on the ISS Raven. So I think Anselm says, I can take care of this, but I'll let Hormoz help me out, give him a few skills. You know, he can earn his keep while he's with me. So I'm going to say, does something happen along the way that causes a problem with one of these passengers? Let's find out. That is going to be a mythic question. And since he is very young, and since he is, I want to say, a little naive, and maybe even a little clumsy, I'm going to say that it is likely. I'm going to say it is likely that something happens to put him in maybe an altercation with one of the passengers, which is a 75% chance or less that, yes, something does happen. So this is at our chaos factor of 5, 75% chance or less, yes, something happens. Does something happen? 35, yes, something does happen. Something does happen, and Hormoz, or one of the passengers and Hormoz, have a little bit of a problem. Let's roll and see who it is. So I'm going to say 1 and 2 is the delightful reverend, 3 and 4 is the lethargic professor, 5 and 6 is the conservative merchant. And so who is it? It is 3, that is the lethargic professor. The lethargic professor who's trying to accompany Wrath. Okay, I think what happens is that Anselm is getting Hormoz to check on them. Hormoz is the one who says, oh, I think it's time for lunch now, or anytime there's a meal served. And also, if you've ever been on a very long haul flight, they actually want you to get up and move around. They want you to keep active, so you don't just sit in the chair and get all seized up. So that's what Hormoz is doing. He's given, Anselm has given Hormoz the job to sort of make sure, basically, that people know when it's time to move around, that people know when it's time to eat. Anselm will take care of the actual preparation of the food and anything like that. He will make the entertainment kind of things they have available on ISS Raven available, but Hormoz is just kind of the one who says, okay, it's lunch is going to be served like in a half hour if you want to be ready for that. And I'm going to say the lethargic professor has taken something. You know, a lot of people on a plane, they'll take something to help them sleep. I think there's probably a big industry in that. If you're in jump space for a week, you will take something maybe just to keep you low-key. And I can see Hormoz every 15 minutes knock on the guy's door. Are you okay? Would you like a drink of water? Would you like, we're going to have lunch and, oh, hey, Anselm says you need to sort of walk around and stretch your leg. And so I can see the professor at one point saying, young man, I have had all I'm going to take from you, all right? Do not knock on this door again. Do not disturb me again. If I see your face one more time, I am going to punch you right in the mouth. Because he is accompanying Wrath. I'm going to say he's lethargic, but he's kind of got some anger issues. And this professor is really upset. Oh, maybe he's also in there when he's not actually resting or taking the sleep aid. He is actually working on something. Maybe he... Okay, he is going to Hesia Prime because there is the scout base. He is working on something that... Professor, okay. He's giving a lecture. He's getting information from the scouts about flora and fauna of ice worlds. That's what he's doing. He's going there to check out their archives, check out their information, and interview some of the scouts about what can be found on ice worlds. And he's going for another degree, and he's trying to do this. So he's deep in study when he's not actually relaxing, and Hormoz keeps interrupting him. So this guy gets very, very angry about that. And Anselm does have to stand in the way. He says, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry. First of all, let's find out, what is this professor's name? Let's find him a name. Let's go to the D66 companion. Let's find a name. Let's see. Nope, not that. Here we go. This is the one I wanted. We are looking for... Oh, I kept saying he. Let me see. Is this professor? Is this male or female? So 1 to 3 is female. 4 to 6 is male. It is a male. All right. A male professor. And his name is going to use the name generator, as I say, on the D66 companion. The Star Wars dice is going to be the first die. And this is going to be a male name. His name is... That's 14. His name is... Ardalan. Professor Ardalan. So Anselm does go to him and says, Professor Ardalan, I'm very sorry. I know you wanted quiet and you wanted not to be disturbed. Hormoz is a steward in training, and he is trying to learn the ropes. This is his first voyage, so yeah, I do appreciate that you want some trying. He is just doing as I instructed him, so we will make sure that we leave you alone and give you plenty of time for study. And Professor Ardalan's like, yes, I would hope so. I must make sure I'm ready to get all my notes when I arrive at the scout base. And Anselm, trying to pacify this individual a little bit, says, well, I am a former scout, and I'm happy to give you any of my knowledge or expertise that you may want, or anything that I can help with. And the professor looks at him and says, indeed, yes, did you ever serve on any ice worlds? And I think if we think back all the way back to episode 1 or 2, whichever one we did the character creation, think episode 1, and I'll put a link to that somewhere up here. I think it's going to be here. But no, he didn't. He was on a volcanic world and water world, a jungle world, but Anselm never served on an ice world. So Anselm says, no, sir, I never ever was stationed on an ice world. I can tell you about volcanic worlds and jungle worlds and water worlds if you'd like. No, thank you. And the door closes up. And they continue on. Anselm just says, Hormoz, don't bother Professor Ardalan right now. Okay, yeah, should I tell him when it's time to have lunch? No, it's okay. Just let him. He'll come and get something when he's hungry. All right. If he does beep us, sends a message through the comms, we'll go ahead and take him something then, right? Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll just take care of everybody else. And that's what happens along the way. I think that's good. We're gonna continue on. They do continue on in the week, going to Hesia Prime, and they do arrive. Let's go ahead and go to page 55 to do our system entry checklist. Hey there, it is Ed, the editor, breaking in really quick to let you know that coming up, something happened to my dice cam. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if I inadvertently deleted the footage, or if it just got eaten on the hard drive, or something happened. I don't know. All I know is it's not there when I started editing, so you're just going to have to trust that I am being honest with my dice rolls. It does come back here in a little bit. What happened to the middle? Mystery for the ages, I guess. Anyway, back to the video. First of all, scan the area for potential danger, problems, or other data. They don't have any of that. Again, we are in Imperial space, and there is a scout base here. So all is good in that respect. They do head quickly to the planet. And let's roll. Let's see, is the scout base part of the star base, or is it separate? I kind of feel like it would be separate, but let's find out. That's going to be a mythic roll with a chaos factor of 5. I'm going to say that it is... Actually, I don't know. I'm just going to say 50-50. So that literally at a chaos factor of 5 is 50-50. Is the scout base part of the larger commercial starbase. 35, that's exactly what I rolled a minute ago. Do I have anything else other than 35s on this? Yeah, maybe I do. Anyway, 35, that is a yes. Yes, so I asked if it was separate, right? So yes, it is separate. And I'm just going to roll, is it on the surface? Is it on the surface of the planet? 94, definitely not. It is definitely not. It is a orbital space station, space base that is not connected in any shape, form, or fashion to the you know what? Let me take a step back. I'm going to say that the scout base is actually on Hesia Prime's moon. Yeah, I'm going to say Hesia Prime has a moon, and I'm going to say the scout base is actually on the moon. I'm probably saying this because I've been watching a lot of Space 1999 recently. Anyway, you do have the starbase, the space base, I can't think of the words, you know what I'm saying. It isn't class. I don't even know what I'm saying. It is a class C. Starport! Starport is the name that I'm struggling to find. It is a Class C starport, and the scout base is actually on Hesia Prime's moon. So Anselm will have to head to the starport, offload the passengers, see if he can do something with 3 tons of grain, and then go to the scout base to find information and figure out exactly how is he going to get to Endorian space. So he does head into the starport. First of all, does he have a ship encounter? Let us find that out. Even though this is a sea starport, it is one of the few ways to get to other parts of this part of the subsector. I, once again, will try to remember to put up the map around here so you can see that. But there is, it's in a cluster sort of in the top, if you're looking at the map, top right, and everything else is a bit of a jump. So I think there is a lot of traffic that goes through Hesia Prime, and they do have a scout base, so that's something else that would, I think, contribute to some traffic. All that being said, let's see, does he have a ship encounter? We are a sea starport. There is a +1 modifier for the scout base, so let's see. Do we have a ship encounter? That is going to be an 8 + 1 is 9. And a 9 means that, yes, we do have an R. R is a 400-ton subsidized merchant. And there is an asterisk, meaning there is also a small ship encounter. So let's find out, is there a small ship? Or I should say, what kind of small ship is there? There's a -1 on this die roll because there's a scout base in Hesia Prime. So let's see what we get. 2 - 1 is 1. A 30-ton ship's boat. Ship's boat, I think that is, let me make sure I'm right as I look up that kind of ship in the classic Traveler book. A ship's boat, All right, a launch ship's boat. Ship's boat is capable of 6G acceleration, mount 1 beam or pulse. All right. 6G, so that's a pretty good, 6G is a pretty good little speedy kind of interplanetary system-wide ship. I'm going to say that's actually what that is. That's a shuttle. I'm going to say that they do have shuttles going from the starport down to the planet, but they also have some... Would they have shuttles going to the scout base? I don't think so. I think the scout base is pretty much just for the scouts. So this is a shuttle going to the actual surface of Hesia Prime, and there is one of those that he encounters as he's going that way. All right, so saying that, let's roll with a certain amount of fear and trembling. What is their attitude towards Anselm? There we go, going to page 101 for our reactions. What is their reaction to seeing the ISS Raven? That is going to be an 8, which is interested. I think they would be interested simply because it is a decommissioned scout ship in a system that has a scout base. Probably nothing else happens. And let's see about the ship's boat. What do they feel like? They are also an 8. I keep rolling the exact same numbers on the dice. I don't know. One of those days. Probability has gotten hung up in this very specific time and location. Anyway, so yeah, they see it. Nothing really happens, but he does pass by the merchant, and he does pass by the shuttle going to the surface. All right, so we do that. We achieve orbit, and he does come winging in to the Hesia Prime starport. He does get his docking coordinates. He does come in and dock in the docking bay. And he says to the delightful Reverend, thank you, Reverend, you've been delightful. He says to the lethargic Professor, thank you, Professor Ardalan, I really appreciate it. I hope you had a chance to get some of your study done in your preparations. Yes, despite everything, I believe I am ready for my interview. You know what? I think Anselm says, try getting on this guy's good side. He does say, well, Professor, I am actually going to the scout base. If you need a ride, I can take you over there after I after I disembark the other passengers and we unload our cargo. I'm more than willing to take you over there so you don't have to wait around. And is the professor going to take him up on that? I'm going to say that's actually unlikely because I think he's kind of cranky. That's going to be a 35% chance or less that, yes, he is going to take him up with that. Let's see what happens. 48, nope. He says, no, I think not. And he does hurry off into the starport, looking for something to bide his time before he does get a shuttle or some transport out to the scout base. And we let all those guys off. All right, so let's make a note of that. We have gotten all the passengers off, and that was high passengers. High passengers pay 10,000 per, so that's another 30,000 for Anselm. All right, he does have to refuel, and that is going to be another 1,000 per ton of unrefined fuel. Again, scout ship, not that important, doesn't have to worry that much about misjumping. So he is going to do the unrefined fuel. So with a 40-ton tank, that is going to be 4,000 for fuel. By now, I should just have that in my brain, but I still have to do the math mentally every time I say that. Anyway, and then he'll have to do some life support costs. We'll do that when he leaves to see if he is going to be taking anyone with him. And then it's time to see, can he sell the 3 tons of grain he has brought to Hesia Prime? All right, let's find that part of the book. Anselm goes to, I'm guessing there's some sort of exchange, trade market, where ships buy and sell the commodities that they have. And he says, I have 3 tons of grain. Can I understand? So, he's standing on the crosswalk, a couple of places where 2 large thoroughfares meet in the starport, saying, my man, you need some grain. Probably not what's happening. All right, so he does have some grain, and we are on Hesia Prime. Now we need to find out some information. Resell DMs. Let us find out information about Hesia Prime. Hesia Prime is non-industrial. So there's that, and non-industrial doesn't give us, gives us a -5 to our resale DM, and it is also a garden world, which again is not really a trade classification in Classic Traveler. That's more Mongoose and Cepheus system. But that being said, it is a -5. All right, let me double check here. By the way, this is page 105 in the Traveler book. So when he goes to sell this, he is going to roll 2 dice, and I think he's going to subtract the 5. Is that right? Wait, I was looking at the entire wrong list. Let's see, grain. No. He does not have a subtraction. That was for petrochemicals, has the -5. No. Grain does not get a modifier. Okay, so we're going to roll 2 d6, and we're going to see what is the value he can get from this grain that he has bought and brought to Hesia Prime. Oh, let's hope he makes money and doesn't lose money on this. Let's see, and he rolls an 8. All right, which is 110%. Woo! He has made 10% on his 3 tons of grain. His grain cost him originally 300 for 3 tons, so it cost him 900 if I remember correctly. So he can sell that for 330, right? That would be 10%. So that means that he is going to get 330 times 3 would be 990. So he gets 990 for selling his grain. And Anselm is rather happy about that. Yeah, he didn't lose money. That was the biggie. All right, so he has sold off his grain, and he is a little bit richer. He may try that again at some point. But right now, there are other things he must do whilst he is on this starport. So he has gone there, he has unloaded his cargo, he's unloaded all the passengers, he's refueled. He can do the speculative cargo, but right now we're going to go through the normal procedure of what happens when he's on this starport. I think whatever adventure is going to happen over on the scout base, or the adventure encounters will happen on the scout base. Oh, something I meant to mention though, while they're traveling, I kind of feel like Anselm has had a little bit of a heart-to-heart with Hormoz. Again, Hormoz is looking for someone to train him with his psionic abilities. As yet a third aside, I kind of feel like since Hormoz is very young, and he is very untrained in his psychic abilities, I thought it would be fun if maybe originally he had his enhanced strength, and he sort of spontaneously manifested the enhanced strength. Maybe his psionic powers are so untrained that maybe when they show up under duress, and maybe he doesn't know what it's going to be. Maybe every time, because I like this, it's more rolling randomly, but every time he gets under duress, I will roll to see if they manifest. And if they do, then I will probably roll randomly to see what shows up, just because I like the chaos of that. So that's what's going to happen. Anyway, while they're traveling, Anselm does sit Hormoz down. Or actually, one night when they're sort of bedding down for the trip in hyperspace, Hormoz is talking about going to Endoria and learning how to control this, and that he's had these flashes ever since he was a kid, and that it's something that has caused him a lot of problem. He's had conflict with people. People fear him because they can do this. He doesn't know how to control it, and so he wants to learn how to control it. And as they're bedding down for the night, he's telling Anselm all this, and Anselm says, Hormoz, I'm okay to take you with me to Endoria, but you do realize that the Endorians don't just train people in psionic abilities just for an altruistic reason. I mean, they train people who are believers and followers of their religion. So if you're going to be trained by the Endorians, you're going to have to follow the Endorian creed. Are you okay with doing that? And Hormoz kind of sits there for a minute and thinks, and he says, maybe. I didn't even think about that. I thought maybe just I want to learn how to use this and maybe not, hurt people or get in a situation where people are afraid of me, or learn how to keep it from happening when I don't want it to happen, because quite often it happens and I don't mean for it to. So it's kind of embarrassing sometimes. But if they'll train me, maybe I could be an Endorian. I guess I could do that. It doesn't necessarily sound so bad, does it? And Anselm says, Hormoz, that's a big commitment to make at this stage in your life. I think about this carefully before you fully commit to being trained by the Endorians. If that's what you decide, that's fine, and I'll still take you with me to Endoria. Also, Hormoz, I should let you know, I don't know exactly the best way for us to get to Endoria. Okay, well, I'll go whichever way you want to say. I'm happy just to be a passenger and go wherever you're going. Okay, night. And then they do take a rest. Anselm has been thinking about how is he going to get to Endoria. As I mentioned, there is a way to go to Endoria directly, but as I said, I think previously, being in a scout ship, an Imperial scout ship, might not be the best way to get in. That might throw up some red flags that he doesn't want to deal with. There is a way he could get there with the Raven, though, and he could go sort of the long way around, which is not directly to Endoria, but through a few other less populated planets to get to Endoria, like the back way, going in the back door, sort of. Or he could leave the Raven. This is one of the reasons why he thought about going to the scout base, is he could leave the Raven here at the scout base at Hesia Prime, and then go in on as a crew member, or crewing a ship, or even as a passenger going to Endoria that way, and maybe just not be really forthcoming about his past employment. So he's trying to decide which of those is he going to go with, but something to think about as he continues on. Anyway, continuing on, we go to page 100 and 101 in the Traveler book, once again to see exactly what is happening on Hesia Prime Starport. So we already have that. The routine counters, the adventure counters. Does he have a legal encounter while on the starport? I'm guessing they're going to stay in the orbital starport. Actually, I didn't roll for that. Should I roll for that? Why not? That's what I do. 1 in 3 it is an orbital starport. 4 to 6, it is a planet-side starport. It is orbital, so they are on the orbital starport. Again, it's C, so probably don't have both, I'm guessing. Actually, I'm just going to say, they don't have both. It's only a orbital starport, which is why he saw the shuttle earlier. Makes sense. So, he is on the orbital starport. Does he have a legal encounter? The law level of Hesia Prime is... Oh, let me find it. I actually printed all this out, so I don't have to hunt for it all the time like it was before. But the law level is a 5. So 5 or more to prevent having a legal encounter. First of all, it was something other than 8. And yes, they don't run foul of the law. No law enforcement individuals take notice of them as they go about their business. Then we have a random encounter. Do we have a random encounter? That is a 5 or more. Let me move this. We're going to roll the HP Lovecraft die. Do we have a random encounter? 6. We do. We have a random encounter. What is this random encounter? This time the Star Wars die will be on my first die. That is going to be 2, 6. So first is 2, second is 6. That is 52. 52. He has a random encounter with some traitors. Some traitors. There are, how many of them are there? There are 5 of them. 5 traitors. Remarks is GV. GV. Where do I find that? Ah, no? What does GV mean? GV. Those GV traitors. Alright, let's double check here. What does that mean? Random. So, yes, remarks GV. G means the group is armed with guns. They are carrying guns. And V means the group has a vehicle consistent with the local tech level. Alright, local tech level, that's going to be, but he's orbital. So I'm going to say this is a group of traders. Maybe this is a group, that's who this is. This group were on that subsidized merchant. Same people. He met them on the way in. That's the ship he encountered. And these are a group of traders that are from that ship, and they do encounter Anselm. What are their reactions? Let me double check. Hesia Prime, law level of 5. That means... I think that means that it's okay for them to carry guns. But let's double check. Checking out my law level on page 84. Personal concealable firearms such as pistols and revolvers prohibited. So, okay, so they really can't carry guns, but they do have them. I'm going to say they're all packing. They have pistols. But, you know, may get in trouble if people know that they have those. But they are packing pistols. What is their reaction to Anselm when they meet he and Hormoz? All right. He did, I keep forgetting, but he did serve 5 or more terms in the Army, Navy, Scouts, or Marines. So he gets a +1 to this roll. So what is that? It is a 9. +1 is 10. They are responsive. They are responsive. I'm going to say they come to him because they are traders, and they did say...
Excuse me there, Mr. Anselm. I understand you actually brought some grain in on your scout ship, which we were very happy to see, and we were very delighted for you that you were able to sell it at a little bit of a profit. Wondering if you'd be willing to potentially do a little more speculative cargo trading. We have some cargo that we want to take on to...
Where are they taking it to? And this might be a way that he could get a little further on. He could take their speculative cargo. Let's see. Where are they going?
Yes, we have a little cargo that we're trying to get to the planet of Uniri. And I wonder if you might have some space in your scout ship to take it.
And Anselm says, well, possibly. I'm not exactly sure what my plans are going forward. Let me get down your information, and if I'm able to, yes, I'd be more than happy to speak with you about taking the cargo on to Uniri. And the representative of the trader says,
oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I will give you my contact information. If you're able to, we would love to work out a mutually beneficial arrangement for all of us.
And Anselm thanks them very, very much and does go on. What exactly is this cargo, and will it be entirely legal? We shall find out as we continue on. So he does have a possible line on some cargo. Let me make a note of that. A line on cargo to Uniri. All right. Uniri is the next planet directly, not west, but directly next to Hesia Prime. It is a 2 jump, so he can make it there quickly. Maybe because they are in a merchant ship And I think usually, I know the free traders only do one jump. Maybe it has to be there quickly. Maybe it's time sensitive. We'll figure this out in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's do that. So we have done that. We've done our random encounter. And now we're going to see if he can find a patron. Because, again, he would like to find a patron. And that's going to be 5 or more. On the look. And it is a 6. And he does find a patron. Lovely. He is extremely happy that he finds a patron. Who is his patron? We're going to roll another d6 to see if we use patron list 1 or patron list 2. 1 to 3 is 1. 4 to 6 is 2. And a 3. That's going to be patron list 1. And this time, let's roll some different dice. I want to roll the red and green ones. The red is going to be the first die. So who is our patron? All right. 54. Our patron is another scout. Okay. Interesting that a scout meets him as a patron. You know what? I'm going to save this for when he goes to the scout base. I think that's where he will find this patron. Yeah, that's where his patron will be found. So yeah, so he doesn't find one here. He does find one over on the scout base. And then let's see, does he hear a rumor while he is there? This is going to be 7 or more on 2 dice. I don't think there's any modifiers for that, right? No modifiers for that. Let's see, what do we get? 5 is no rumor. You have to roll a 7 or more, so there is no rumor. Anselm does finish up his business on Hesia Prime, and he is going to transfer over to the moon where the scout base is. He is going to have to go ahead and buy... Scout base, he'll determine if he is going to go on with the Raven or not, and then he'll come back if he is, pick up passengers, talk to these traders, and see what else he might be able to do. That's what he's going to do. So he does head over to the scout base to see what he can find over there. So he does finish everything. He does do his checks. He leaves the Hesia Prime starport, and he heads over to the scout base, which is not a long way for him to go, and he does get there relatively quickly. And Anselm and Hormoz are currently in the ISS Raven, leaving Hesia Prime, heading over to the scout base, where we know they will find a patron. What will that patron be? We shall find out next time! I know this was a short one. Had to cut it short, unfortunately, but I will endeavor as much as I can to make sure there's another episode before too much longer. So anyway, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. We will get into what does that scout patron want. Does he want to take the ISS Raven to Endoria, or will there be a more surreptitious way to get into the Endorian space? We shall find out later on. But anyway, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.